One-on-One. Isang oras na maghahatid ng mga mahahalagang impormasyon, mga napapanahong issue, hihimayin, kontrobersya'y hindi palalampasin. Aalamin ang katotohanan sa likod ng mga usapin. Serbisyo publiko, titiyakin. Ihahatid ng isa sa mapagkakatiwalaang broadcast journalists ng bansa, Cesar Soriano, dito sa Isyu One-on-One.
Dito sa ating bayan, palaging may pinag-uusapan. Ano, saan, bakit? Sadyang may nagtatanong. Ako po si Cesar Soriano at samahan niyo akong mag-usisa dito sa programang Isyu One-on-One. Ano nga ba ang katotohanan sa likod ng mga balita? Saan bang panig kailangan mas maniwala? Tunay ngang Pinoy na Pinoy. Dahil sa bawat issue, tayo ay naging interesado.
I have to do what I have to do. The expectation of my constituents is very high. I have always been open for everybody to join hands for the betterment of the province. Kung nag-iisa tayo dito sa Capiz, ang minimithi na lahat na development ay makakapit natin. Let us fight to win.
Ang pagsabak sa politika, karaniwang nakaguhit sa tadhana o sadyang tawag ng tungkulin. Sabi nga nila, marami ang tinawag, ngunit kaunti lamang ang pinili. Sa hatol ng taumbayan, nakasalalay ang pipili at magluluklok sa mga pinunong kakatawan sa matayog na mithiin ng sambayanan. Ngunit higit pa sa tinig na nag-uudyok na dinggin ang hiling ng taumbayan, mahalagang handa at may paninindigan ang sinumang papasok sa politika. Saan mang panig ng bansa, malaki ang papel ng mga opisyal ng pamahalaan sa pagsulong ng kaunlaran. At sa matagal na panahon, katotohanang maituturing na naging mailap ang pagbabago sa ilang lugar. Sa huling halalan, muling nanai ang boses ng taumbayan. Marami ang nanatili, ngunit may ilan ding bumasag sa kinagisnang mundo ng politika, gaya ng nasaksihan sa probinsya ng Capiz. Noong 2021, nang napagdesisyonan ng nooy kongresista ng ikalawang distrito ng Capiz na si Fredenil Otto Castro na tumakbo sa pagkagobernador ng nasabing lalawigan. Isang international lawyer, isa si Castro sa itinuturing na haligi ng politika sa Capiz matapos magsilbi ng 3 magkakasunod na termino sa Kongreso sa 2 pagkakataon. Ngunit alam nyo ba na wala sa plano ang pagtakbo nito sa pagkagobernador? Ngayong gabi sa Isyu One-on-One, ating kilalanin si Governor Fredenil Castro ng probinsya ng Capiz. Sa unang 1 taon nito sa opisina, ano na nga ba ang nabago sa probinsya? Paano nito pinanaig ang pagkakaisa ng mga lokal na pinuno sa kabila ng magkakaiba nilang katayuan sa politika? At mula sa tila wala sa planong pagsabak sa pinakamataas na posisyon sa probinsya, paano pinanindigan ni Governor Castro ang tawag ng tungkulin at binigyang pansin ang panaghoy ng kanyang mga kababayan?
Diretsahan tayo. Sa tagal na panahon, nagkaroon po ng isang international lawyer na governor ang lalawigan ng Capiz. Anong pakiramdam ng hindi mo pinangarap na marating mo itong posisyon mo ngayon?
Well, wala akong magagawa kundi panindigan kung ano ang aking tungkulin sa aking mga kababayan sa probinsya. Hindi ako makatras na sasabihin ko na ayaw kong gawin ang isang bagay para sa kanila sapagkat pagkatapos na manumpa ako sa batas ng tao at batas ng langit o Diyos, ay kailangang panindigan ko kung ano ang tinatawag ng aking opisina na gawin para sa aking probinsya at para sa aking mamamayan.
What was in your mind when you took your oath as governor?
Well, there was only one thing in my mind. I have to do what I have to do within the limits of my capacity But even if I would stretch myself to the limit, I am going to do, because the expectation of my constituents is very high.
Is becoming a governor of Capiz a dream?
It did not come in my wildest dream that I am going to run for governor.
So what is the reason why, number one reason why you ran for governor?
I myself cannot understand why I ran. When I came from Manila, I wanted to go home because I wanted to meet my leaders, no, in the 2nd District of Capiz. I wanted to meet them because I would want to prepare them for the election. You will not believe it that our vice governor organized a meeting among our political leaders who were, well, I understand, were opposed to the past administration. They were convincing me to run. And flatly, I told them, I am not going to run for governor. Then, the next day, we had a meeting, and again, flatly, I rejected again for the 2nd time. I again attended for the 3rd time.
Okay, so what happened next?
During the meeting, the same pleading. There were more political leaders, more political affiliates joining the meeting. Then they again reiterated that I run for governor. Still, I did not accept the nomination. I already saw mayors, lady mayors, crying, telling me that if I would not accede to their proposal that I run for governor, they were asking me what will happen to them.
Okay, so what's the reason?
Then, in my mind, I told myself, I am going to speak. I am going to speak explaining why I refuse to run. Then I started to discourse, started to explain why I am not going to run. And then, out of the blue, I cut my discourse and said, okay, let us fight to win. I cannot understand why I said that. Then I said, oh, how can I, what will I do now? I cannot, I don't have any explanation. But I simply blurted out, nasabi ko lang.
Okay.
Then after that, I decided everybody were already shouting with joy. Then I was interviewed by the media. They asked me, why did you decide to run? I told them I cannot even understand.
After the oath-taking, umupo ka sa opisina mo, sa chair mo, what did you find out? Ano ang mga nakita mo, na discover mo that nalumural ka, nagulat ka, and that's up to now been worrying you?
Actually, after my oath-taking, I discovered that the provincial government was in disarray.
Disarray?
There was no organization.
Wasak?
Wasak. As if that there was no provincial government running. Our people were so neglected. The programs of the government were so neglected. Our finances was at the lowest level. In short, there was no provincial government to speak of. I discovered that everything was messy. There were no social services for our people. Our students were left out. Our farmers were so neglected. Our fisher folk were suffering, and they do not have alternative means of living. They were so hungry. The employees of the provincial government were so low morale at the time. It is as if that they didn't have the energy to work.
And during that time, maraming mga medical workers ang hindi pa daw nabayaran.
Yes.
Totoo ba to?
Yes. Our hospital was even called Patay Hospital. Nobody wanted to enter our public hospitals because people, it had the reputation that as the moment that you enter our hospital, you are dead.
Governor Castro, you are a native of Capiz, correct?
Yes, sir.
You live here, your family is here. Ano yung Capiz noon?
As in by way of holistic statement, the province of Capiz was slow-moving province. The peace and order was not intact. The means of living was scarce.
Maraming NPA.
There are NPAs. There are more people now than who are dissatisfied, frustrated, if not disappointed. Students were left, especially those who did not have enough means to continue their studies. No? Our flooding was never addressed. You know, we have meager annual income for the province every year because of the flood, but this was never addressed.
Why is that so? Is it because of the leadership? Because of the lack of direction? Is it because of the neglect from the national government? What?
Again, I am not going to abandon my position. That in any interview, I am not going to mention something or speak on something that will malign my political adversary during the election. I would rather leave those things or those conclusions called for to our people in trying to distinguish and differentiate the government before and the government today.
The government before and the government today. You don't like to differentiate. But the fact remains, President Marcos did not win in Capiz in the last election. And last year, there were floodings in the province. Nagalit daw po kayo sa DPWH kasi matagal inayos sa mga daan. Was there fear in your heart or in your mind that because hindi nanalo si BBM dito, ay hindi kayo priority ng national government? Sasagutin po yan ni Governor Castro pagkatapos po ng ilang paalala.
Isyu One-on-One. One-on-One.
Let us fight to win.
Sa pagkakaupo ni Governor Fredinil Castro bilang pinakamataas na lider ng probinsya ng Capiz, tumambad ang ilang problema at kakulangan sa serbisyong pangmasa. Disorganisado at watak-watak na gobyerno, mabagal na progreso na nagresulta sa diskumpiyadong taumbayan. Ilan lamang ito sa mga kailangang lutasin ng bagong gobernador sa lalong madaling panahon. Mabigat na misyon kung tutusin, ngunit ang paggiba sa barikadang nagbubukod-bukod sa mamamayan at maging sa mga lingkod bayan ang masasabing naging mabisang paraan ng bagong administrasyon para manumbalik ang tiwala ng tao at magkaroon ng mas epektibong tugon ang gobyerno sa mga tunay na suliranin ng probinsya. Kaya naman sa katagang One Capiz, sumentro ang adhikain ng pamahalaang panlalawigan. Kaisa ang bawat bayan at ang syudad ng Rojas.
First time masasabi mo One Capiz. No? We're claiming that for the longest time. But now we can claim it by heart. Because first time nangyari na lahat ng mga local government executives or officers, mayors, governors, congressmen, isa lang po kami. Isang bahay, isang bubong, isang kainan, isang puso.
Sa ngayon, larawan ng nagkakaisang pamayanan ang probinsya ng Capiz. Pursigido rin ang pamahalaan na buksan sa mas marami pang turista at mamumuhunan ang lalawigan. Patunay dito ang nagdaang Kapistahan 2023. Ayon sa gobernador, patikim lamang ito sa mas malaki at mas kaabang-abang na kapistahan.
What is next? Better. In the coming years, they will see the best. The best dahil nagbunga na yung ating pinaghirapan.
Asahang mas matayog pa ang magiging lipad ng probinsya sa mga susunod na taon. Gayunpaman, hindi pa rin nawawala ang mga pangambang nangangailangan ng agarang solusyon at pag-agapay mula sa pambansang pamahalaan. Kumusta nga ba ang suporta ng national government pagdating sa pangangailangan ng probinsya?
Somehow, sir, because of in Region 6 in Western Visayas, the former Vice President, Lenny, won here by a wide margin. Did it occur to you that paano na to? Hindi nanalo si BBM dito. Baka hindi kami priority. Merong ganyan bang haka-haka sa isipan?
It never came into my mind. Because, in the province, the campaign of the president was so messy. Messy in the sense that people did not really understand who was for Marcos. I was campaigning for Marcos. Therefore, all those who voted for Marcos thought that I was the point man of President Marcos in Capiz.
So alam ng Malacanang yan that you campaigned.
I campaigned. It was even I who took care of their people here. But here is another camp claiming also that they were for President Marcos. That's why people were in doubt. If we are going to vote for Marcos, it is as if that we voted for the old administration.
Sir, marami kasing mga nagtatanong, just be honest.
Yes.
We're really waiting for the president to visit Capiz. Bakit nga ba hindi pa dumating si presidente hanggang ngayon? Hindi pa nakabisita dito sa Capiz hanggang ngayon?
It is only the president who can answer that question.
What will you do for the president to come here? May invitations na ba kayo? Meron
Well,
ba
I
kayong
sent
plano?
him the invitation to attend our Kapistahan. But at that time, I understand that he was scheduled to go to Davos, Switzerland.
You already have a conversation over the phone? Nakita na kayo in one time sa Manila or what? Wala na?
I did not bother to see the president. Ayaw ko, wala kasi sa ugali ko. Na yung nagsisip-sip, wala sa ugali ko yun.
But the vice president came here.
Well, of course, we belong to the same political party. I have worked for a long time with former President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo. That's why there is already a working relationship.
But you always believe, Governor Castro, that in unity there is progress, correct?
Yes.
And you've been very proud of one Capiz, correct?
Yes.
And you always talk about the beauty and the advantages.
Yes.
Have you reached out to your political opponent that we should be one, we should work together?
In person, no. In the radio, we have repeatedly called and reached out to my political opponents that let us forget politics. There will be no politics in my administration. As a matter of fact, there are relatives of the former governor working here in the provincial capital. I have never touched them. Those who left voluntarily, I call them, you return to the fold and to the employment of the provincial government.
So let us be clear on that, Governor. You are open that you be one.
I have always been open.
Open for what?
Open for everybody to join hands for the betterment of the province, for the peace of the province and development of the province.
Has there been a response on their side?
So far, there is none.
What is the beauty of one copies now?
The beauty of one copies is that, unlike before, the provincial and the city government do not understand each other.
You mean Rojas City?
Yes, Roa City and the province of Capiz do not understand.
Is that because of the political?
Because of politics. Immediately after I took my oath, I want my administration to be embellished with humility. We start humble, we start low. I walk towards the city government and join hands with the city government. And the mayor was also waiting for me. And then we agreed that there should only be one copies. And that's why now the relationship between the provincial and the city government is very harmonious.
You're one of the most flood-prone provinces in the country. Is this a very serious problem?
Well, it is a very serious problem, but I feel that the resolution of this problem may come soon. I do not believe that the president will not give us an assistance in copies.
Can you be more specific? What would you want that the national government would do in order to address? Gaano ba kalaki itong kailangan na flood control? Paano ba?
I call that there is a long shot and there is also a jump shot. When I say jump shot, I am referring to floodway, meaning the water coming from the mountains will have to pass through a floodway going to the sea. There will be massive dredging of our rivers. I have already discussed this with the Speaker of the House.
Hanggang saan ba ang tubig kapag
No,
buma?
it's not only here, not here, not here, not here,
Oh.
but deeper than that. The second district during flood season, or when there is a typhoon, almost 80% of our products are submerged, houses are submerged, animals are
During the past
dying.
typhoons?
During the past typhoon. That's why the problem in the second district is more critical than here in Roa City. But there are also municipalities in the first district that whenever there is typhoon, whenever there is flood, its situation is almost equal with that in the second district.
What is it in Capiz, Gov, that the national government should really pour in more millions of money, billions of money?
Well, I don't have to brief the national government of the situation of the province of Capiz during typhoon season because the records will speak for itself. All that the national government has to do is open the records and everything is there. The sufferings of our people is there.
Napakalaking nawala, Gov, sa infrastructure and projects, kabuhayan. So, every now and then, nasasayang lang yung pinut up pera, effort, mga projects dahil sa bagyo.
That's what I am always saying,
May pag-asa pa ba tayo?
that the meager income the provincial government get from its operation annually is pulled down by this flooding.
And aggravated
Yes.
by the ERA reduction this year.
Yes. Most especially now, the province of Capiz is suffering because the internal revenue allotment of our province was reduced by 200 million.
But how are you coping with that? Yung services ng mga tao hinihintay nila, hindi may bibigay mo yun.
It's a question of management, and it's a question of trying to meet both ends by whatever we have.
Okay. Sir, in the fishery projects, narinig ko na gusto mo raw mga investors to concentrate on hatchery.
We are already calling a summit. As a matter of fact, the hatchery, the aquaculture, because Capiz is one of the biggest aquaculture centers in the whole country. No? We are going to get to call a summit and discuss this matter with aquaculture operators and owners. As a matter of fact, one of the problems is we do not have a feed mill here. That's why the cost of feeds for our aquaculture is so expensive. Some have already closed.
Really?
Some have already converted their fish ponds into subdivision. Some have already embarked on different endeavor. And if this will continue, I am sure that in few more years, not only that there will be massive unemployment, but I am sure that our aquaculture industry will finally die its natural death.
You are inviting investors to operate in your province. But the most serious problem right now that you are facing is power shortage. Daming brownout, madalas ang brownout, maraming nagrereklamo. How will you answer that? Go.
That is not the only problem of the province of Capiz. The whole Panay. We have already reached out sa NGCP, National Grid Corporation, and they advise us that sooner or later it will regularize. But we do not rely on NGCP alone. We are not relying on the present supply of our energy. That's why we had invited investors in our investors forum to build hydroelectric power combined with irrigation systems.
So may potential ba yan?
Yes, yes.
Are you talking of the Panay River?
Not only Panay River, but there are so many rivers. We are blessed by God that we have abundance of waters here.
So you will utilize that?
Yes, we are going to utilize that. We have already consulted the records of World Bank, and the records show that we have several wind farm, and this wind farm can also be used to put up wind turbine for energization. The complete solution is the Panay River Basin Project that will start from the municipality of Tapas. A dam shall be constructed, hydroelectric power shall be put up on the basis of that project, and the water will be utilized for irrigation of our farms.
Estimate nyo, sir, how much would you need in order to address this?
For the Panay River Basin, we will be needing something around 28 billion plus. And for the floodway, we will be needing something around 4.750 billion pesos.
So it's a lot of money.
I have already discussed the floodway solution with Speaker Romualdez. I am happy that the Speaker is so kind enough to have seriously discussed this matter with this representation.
What other infra projects, sir, that you have in mind that, you know, yung mga munisipyo kasi masaya na sila kapag yung mga roads nila ay naaayos. Do you have enough funds for that?
No, we do not have enough funds for our roads.
Okay.
But what we are doing now is we are trying to prioritize. We are gradually paving the unpaved portion.
Kompleto kayo ng heavy equipment.
We have heavy equipment.
Bago?
Good enough to continue the program.
Hindi kayo maglo-loan ulit?
No, I will never borrow money.
Why? Hindi naman masama mangutang.
It's not part of my system. I am not going to let the finances of the provincial government go to drain by simply borrowing money.
Yung Kapitolyo niyo, sir, ay luma na at ni-repair lang. Other provinces have constructed modern, sophisticated, and in fact, one of the best building structures in Capiz is in Tapas, the municipal hall. It's so big that parang Kapitolyo. Do you have any plans na magkaroon kayo ng isang provincial government complex na malaki at komportable sa mga mamamayan ng Capiz when they visit their provincial?
We have already finalized plans to construct a new provincial capital that will be located in Pueblo de Panay. But you know, alam mo, Cesar, kung maikli ang kumot mo ay kailangang mamaluktot ka. Huwag yung basta-basta tira ka na lang ng tira, no? Kasi hindi lang naman Kapitolyo o pagpapatayo ng bagong Kapitolyo ang problema natin. Ang problema natin ay masyadong malawak, especially now, our health programs, because of the devolution of our provincial hospitals and district hospitals. Therefore, without means where to get the money to support the operation of these devolved agencies.
Especially hospitals.
Including the hospitals. That's why we are trying to be a little bit slow. No? Dahil ang maglakad ng mabilis ay kung matinik, malalim. Kaya ayaw kong matinik ng malalim.
But the question now, is you're slowing down other expenses, but yet you spend more than 60 million for your tourism and kapistahan. What is the direction of the provincial government? Bakit nyo binigyang halaga ang turismo ngayon, yung kapistahan and other activities related to tourism?
Our attention is not only on tourism. We also focus our attention to all the bigger problems of the province, or source of income for that matter. That's why we started with our investors forum, because we invited investors to invest here, and it's paying off now.
Okay, so that's part of kapistahan.
That's part of Kapistahan. Second, insofar as tourism is concerned, if you're aware that the Philippine government has estimated billions of pesos that could be generated by tourism project in the country. That's why our sleeping tourism program has been revived, resurrected, so that more or less we could get a part of that anticipated billion income from our tourism.
This is one of your strategy.
This is one of our
Tuloy-tuloy na ito
strategy.
next year.
Now, let me say, never that this kapistahan, as active, as splendid, as attractive before, it is only this time that perhaps the people of Capiz are so happy that we have resurrected our tourism program. You were right that we spent a lot for this. I was briefed by the Sangguniang Panglalawigan that we almost spent 60 million for this. But you know, Cesar, if you had the occasion to go around Rojas City during the Kapistahan, you will find out that our business for the first time has become bullish. Our nightlife is so alive. Look at our hotels. Up to the present, it's fully booked. If we had spent 60 million, the profit or the ROI, return of investment, will not go to the provincial government. It will go to our businessmen, it will go to our people, because it has generated means of livelihood for the Capiceños. What I am planning, or we are planning, is how we could make this crowd, how we could make people to be alive like New York. New York is a city that never sleeps. Now we will make Rojas City a city that never sleeps. How to make it regular, how to maintain the momentum, how to maintain that people will spend for Capiz because they see, they feel, they enjoy our tourism program. And my estimate now, if ever that we spend 60 million, it returned to our people, returned to our businessmen threefold or 5 times. What we have all now in 2023 is only teaser.
A teaser?
Yeah, only a teaser.
Medyo
Meaning,
mayabang ang
It's
copies
simply
dyan.
prelude of what will happen in 2023. Come back and you will see what I mean.
From the time you took your oath, nagtrabaho kayo, walang pahinga, marami nagsasabi sa mga assistant mo matigas daw ulo mo kasi hanggang alas 5 lang dapat, upo ka pa rin na upo, daming pinirmahan, hindi ka na maawat dahil kailangan mong tapusin ang lahat ng trabaho. After 100 days in office, you deliver the speech, natumba ka, marami ang nagulat na alarma. Because according to them, there must be something very serious in your health condition. Ano ba to? Sasagutin po yan ni Governor Castro pagkatapos po ng ilang paalala.
Isyu One-on-One. One-on-One.
Let us fight to win.
Mahalaga para sa bagong luklok na opisyal ang first 100 days nito sa pwesto. Dito inilalahad ng leader ang kanyang mga accomplishment sa higit unang 3 buwan mula nang umupo sa posisyon. Kaabang-abang para sa kapis ang magiging ulat sa bayan ni Governor Ferdinand Castro. Sa harap ng sangguniang panlalawigan, mga kawani at ilang miyembro ng media. Halos 3 oras ang haba ng kanyang speech. At matatandaang naging laman ng balita ang talumpati ng gobernador dahil sa kalagitnaan kasi ng kanyang pagsasalita, bigla itong tumumba. Ligtas at walang natabong injury ang gobernador. Nagawa pa nga nitong tapusin ang kanyang talumpati. Subalit umani ng samut-saring reaksyon at pangamba, lalo na patungkol sa kalusugan ang naganap sa nooy 71 taong gulang na leader. Ano nga ba ang tunay na nangyari at bakit natumba noon ang gobernador? Kumusta na nga ba ang lagay ng kanyang kalusugan?
Governor, bakit nga ba kayo natumba nun? Were you having some problems na medyo tumas ba dugo nyo? Malakas bang tuhod natin hanggang ngayon?
Alam mo, Cesar, natumba ako noon dahil sa kabubuhan ko.
Kabubuhan?
Yes.
Napakatalino nyo po.
Kabubuhan talaga. Alam mo kung bakit?
Bakit po?
Dahil ang tiles na nando doon sa session hall na kung saan ako nag-deliver ng aking discourse ay ganito. Ganitong tiles.
Baka nagpapalusot ka lang. Go.
Ikis-kis mo yung iyong sapatos.
Okay.
Madulas itong tiles na ito. Sa tagal na ng aking katatayo, itinukod ko ito sa likod.
Okay.
Para ngayon, maitukod ko at para masuportahan yung kaliwa. Kaya yung kabubuhan na sinasabi ko, ay inilagay ko ito sa likod. Yung aking kanan, inilagay ko sa likod. At kabubuhan dahil hindi ko alam na mas mahina pala kung gaganituhin ko yung ano ko.
Okay, okay.
Kaya ngayon, natumba ko. Pagkatumba ko, akala nila siguro anong nangyari. Nag-agawan sila ng pagpapatayo sa akin. Maniwala ka ba, pinagalitan ko sila lahat. At ako'y umupo at nagpatuloy ng aking pananalita.
Pero matagal ka pa rin nakabangon nun.
Hindi. Madali lang kasi kaya nga ako nagalit dahil nag-aagawan sila, hindi ako makatayo.
Akala nila may nangyari, natake kayo. Just straight answers, short answers. Marami kasing mga bali-balita. Marami daw aswang sa kapis.
Naku, totoo yun.
Oh!
Totoo.
Bakit? Ano?
Hindi mo ba alam na kaharap mo yung isang aswang din? Pero alam mo, yan ay mga kasabihan ng mga matatanda. Panakot sa amin nung mga maliliit pa kami. At sa katotohanan, may aswang talaga. Kaharap mo ngayon, aswang. Alam mo kung bakit? Kami ay aswang, hindi dahil sa kami ay uhaw sa dugo ng tao. Hindi rin kami aswang sapagkat kami ay gutom sa laman ng tao. Kami ay aswang dahil kinauuhawan namin ng pagkakataon na makaserbisyo at makapanungkulan sa pagserbisyo ng ating mga mamamayan. At kami ay gutom, hindi dahil sa laman ng tao, kami ginugutom na makagawa ng kabutihan sa aming kapwa. Kami aswang sa serbisyo at aswang sa pagmamahal sa kapwa namin.
Governor Castro, si dating DLG Secretary Rojas ay icon sila dito sa Capiz, sa Rojas City. And you belong to the other party. Are you seeing yourself as the unifier in Capiz?
Well, kung sasabihin ko that I am a unifier in Capiz, yan ay self-serving na. Ang sasabihin ko lang sa iyo, Cesar, na umpisa nung ako'y nanungkulan at kahit na noong ako ay congressman pa lang, alam mo, automatic na yung samahan dahil hindi ako basagulero, hindi rin ako palaaway, hindi rin ako yung chismoso. Tahimik lang ako at gumagawa lang ako ng trabaho ko. Kahit nakalaban ko sa politika, kung may kailangan, pumupunta sa akin, tinutulungan ko pa rin yan.
When you were a congressman, sabi mo hindi ka basagulero, hindi ayaw mo ng away, ayaw ng dahas. Is that the reason why you authored the death penalty bill?
Well, in-author ko yung death penalty bill dahil masyado ng napakasama ng nangyayari. Bigyan kita ng isang example. Yung babae ay gagahasain. Lolooban yung pamilya nila. Maliban na ginahasa na yung babae, papatayin pa. Hindi ba yan nakakapanindig ng balahibo na kailangang maputol o matumigil na ang mga bagay na ito?
Former President Duterte was so active in its drug operations. Nakitaan ng konting kahinaan ang Philippine National Police sa kampanya laban sa droga. Do you think so?
Ang operation naman ng mga pulis ay hindi ginagawa sa harap ni Presidente Duterte. President Duterte only receives the report from his men on the ground. At alam mo naman yan, sa ating mga law enforcement agencies kuminsan, nagtataki pa niyan sila ng amoy, no? Kaya ngayon, maring pagtakpan lang, kaya parang sa isipan ni Presidente, ay regular pa rin yung
Are you quite
nangyayari.
disappointed what's happening na may na-involved ng mga generals sa drugs?
Very disappointed, not only disappointed.
But that will not stop you from really campaigning against drugs.
I have hired a retired police colonel to support my program against illegal drugs. And I am happy with our present police director working with the police colonel who is now working with my office to fight against drug. Because I am going to warn everybody that I am going to declare war against drugs here in the province of Capiz.
For years, marami mga IP sa Capiz, especially those living inside the military reservation area. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Kampo ng militar.
Yes.
They've been dreaming na mapasa kanila ang kanilang lupang tinitirhan.
Yes.
Are you going to side with these IPs who've been dreaming na may bigay sa kanilang lupa? Napakalaki po ng military reservation. What's your take on this?
As you know, Cesar, in the appointment of a board member representing the indigenous people, there was initial opposition from some quarters
Here in the province.
here in the province. I did not listen to the opposition. It's time that these indigenous people in the province of Capiz should be heard and should be represented in the provincial board. I appealed to the members of the provincial board na aprobahan na nila ang appointment ng indigenous people representative sa provincial board.
For the first time
For the first time.
in your administration?
Yes.
What does that symbolize, Gov? When it's the first time, it is Governor Castro is doing that.
Well, because the government of the province of Capiz is for everybody. Everybody should be represented. Insofar as our regular people or constituents are concerned, they are already represented by 10 board members. And our indigenous people comprising of 28,000 members, kailangan naman may representation din sila.
Okay, going back to the military reservation area, you're in favor?
Insofar as the military reservation is concerned, i-slice na nila yan. Yung slice na para makamintain ng pabubuhay yung mga IP, ay ibigay sa kanila. At saka yung hindi nila kailangan, ay sa gobyerno manatili.
3 years ago or 2 years ago, there was an incident, nilusob ng mga PNP CIDG ang isang area sa Iloilo and Capiz, killing some 9 members of the community.
That is in the municipality of Tapas.
Correct. And in the program of the government to really win the hearts of the other side, would you say the military or government should really be very careful in every step that they're doing? Kasi ito'y makakapagpa-disappoint sa mga gustong mag-surrender pa para sa gobyerno.
Hindi lang siguro mag-iingat. Dapat naman ay kung ano ang mga report na dumarating sa ating ahensya, ay dapat suriin ng mabuti. Kasi yung mga report na yan ay baka naman mga hilaw, no? At hindi yan luto. At ang iba naman ay nagsasubmit lang ng report
Nagmamadali
para
para
meron lang
accomplishment.
silang compliance sa
Okay.
kanilang assignment.
Okay.
But on the other hand, meron namang mga report na totoo. Pero ay yung enforcement ay kailangang ayusin lang para hindi naman magresulta ito sa kamatayan ng ating mga kapatid na nataliwas.
Are you strict with your policemen? Sigurado ka ba na walang nalilink sa drugs at diretso ang mga kapulisan natin sa pagtulong sa kampanya laban sa droga
Meron akong mga katiwalian
na
na nakikita
sa kapulisan?
sa kapulisan.
Ano po yun?
For example, meron akong inilabas na executive order dahil gusto kong pangalagaan ang ating palibot. Kinakwari ng iba na walang permit. Kinakwari na kahit na critical yung area.
Why are you blaming the policemen? They're not the ones quarrying, sir.
Dahil sa kung lumalabas yung mga illegal na na-extract na dapat hulihin, kung gabi na ay pinalalampas nila.
Do you have proof on that, sir?
Meron. Kaya ginawa ko, pinuntahan ko sila diretso sa headquarters. At sinabi po, pag hindi nyo nahuli yan, kayo ang huhulihin ko.
How do you feel about this kind of actions of the PNP or the law enforcers?
Ina-attribute ko ito sa human nature. Kung minsan nagpapabaya sila in consideration of so many things. Na. Una, may relasyon sila sa mga illegal na nagkakwari. Pangalawa, may mga kausap silang mga kaibigan na pabayaan na yan. Akin arbor system. Number 3, nagpapabaya dahil wala silang damdamin sa ating environment.
May private army ba si Governor Castro?
Private army? Meron. Kayo lahat. Ang mga constituents ko, yan ang private army ko. Alam mo, Cesar, sumali ako sa politika starting 2001. Tumakbo ako for the first time sa pagka-congressman. Maniniwala ka man sa akin o hindi, wala akong pakialam. Pero sasabihin ko lang sa iyo na ako ang nagdadrive lang ng sarili kong sasakyan. Makikita mo ako sa gitna ng mga alauna, 2:00 ng gabi, nakikita mo ako sa gitna ng kalsada nakikipag-inuman.
Short messages go for, number 1, sa mga NPA na nandun pa sa bundok. Ano gusto mo sabihin sa kanila?
Sa mga NPA, bumaba na kayo. Walang kwenta yan, walang mangyayari sa kanila. Ang importante, ang sabi ko, ay maging isa tayo sa ating pamahalaan. Kasi kung isa tayo, nag-iisa, suportahan natin ang ating gobyerno, ang mangyayari niyan ay lalakas yung ating gobyerno.
Dito sa provincial capital go, ano ang pinakamensahe mo para sa magandang serbisyo sa mga tao, sa lahat ng mga empleyado nyo rito?
Kasi nasabi ko sa kanila, Cesar, hindi ako ang amo nila. Ang amo nila ay yung provincial government. Kaya kailangang asikasuhin nila ang pagtupad ng kanilang tungkulin dahil ito hindi para sa akin, kundi ito ay para sa mga Kapisenyos.
There's a message that you'd want to relate to the President of the Republic of the Philippines. What would it be?
I will tell him, kumusta ka, Mr. President? I am still the same colleague that you had in Congress before. At huwag mong kalimutan na kami dito sa Capiz ay may kailangan din ng assistance ng national government. At alam kong hindi ka nagbabago. Yung kaibigan mo rito hindi na nagbabago.
Nakikinig po ang mga Kapisenyo sa inyo ngayon. Meron kayong gusto sabihin sa kanila?
Kung anuman ang resulta ng kapistahang ito, ito ay hindi ko gawa because this is a collective effort. Contributory ito ng lahat na sumuporta na kapisnon sa kapistahan namin. Pati na mga local executives ay sumuporta dito. Kaya nakikita ko na kung nag-iisa tayo dito sa Capiz, ang minimithi na lahat na development at lahat ng magandang dapat makamit ng probinsya ay makakamit natin.
In your long time in public service, marami na kayong pagsubok na dumaan. Naging Hall of Famer kayo as a standing congressman of the Republic of the Philippines. You're the governor now. Nakitaan kayo ng inspiration ng mga tao, pag-asa, and that feeling that government is working. At the end of the day, you're going to have a prayer. Anong pwede mong ibanggit sa Panginoon ngayon? That you are now the governor and you have that bigger responsibility para maiangat ang kabuhayan ng mga tao.
Simple lang panalangin ko sa may kapal. Tulungan niya ako na manatiling malakas upang mapagsilbihan ko at matupad ko ang minimithi ng aking mga kababayan sa probinsya ng Capiz.
Ang tawag ng tungkulin na ang nagpasya sa pag-upo ni Governor Ferdinand Castro bilang ama ng probinsya ng Capiz. Tungkuling hindi man pinangarap, ngunit handang gampanan sa abot ng makakaya. Sa transformasyong masisilayan sa Capiz, makikitang aktibo at umaaksyon ang pamahalaan, lumalaban para maipanalo ang kapakanan ng taumbayan, at nagtutulungan para sa hinaharap ng nag-iisang Capiz. Sa makabagong panahon, ang bawat Pilipino dapat ay alam ang mga issue. Sari-saring kwento, iba't ibang interpretasyon. Ang mahalaga, ating pinag-uusapan para mas lalong maintindihan. Hanggang sa muli, ako po si Cesar Soriano. Maraming salamat at ito ang Isyu One-on-One.